nights out, but like we've had plenty of good funny nights out over the years, you know.
I used to remember them, like.
I think actually
There's that many of them.
there was a funny one year actually where John went out dressed as an elf, which like.
Dad, or small lad, was he?
So Mandy, he went down and got a costume of Mandy in the play centre. for Mandy.
Was that not one day elves in the shell suits you got? No.
So Mandy gave him this costume head to toe, even had like the sock boots and everything on him, and off he went out to the pub, and I was absolutely mortified for the whole night till I'd actually run into him somewhere. You know.
We were in 4th class and there was a debate. We were having a school debate, and I was in the mixed class with Steve McManus, and the debate was whether Santi was real. And everyone was like, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely real. And of course, you know, he is real, of course, but just it came around, and some people said well he wasn't, some people said well he was, and then it came around to Steve McManus, and as cocky and as arrogant as you like, he just turned around and goes, well, like I know Santi's real, like, because I got a message last year off Santi, and it was written in orange crayon, and he said, I don't even have orange crayons in the house, like, so like of course it's real, like where would you get orange crayons? So that's what I remember Steve McManus. And and he was serious as you like, and I was in 4th class, and I was in 5th class, and I was like, oh, well, that's it. He's definitely real. You know what I mean? Because Daddy is now. Old Stevie doesn't have orange crayons, so that's the best story.
It was definitely, yeah. It was in Monaghan's. Carol Reed, dinner's ready. The kids up yet?
Okay, so obviously having 7 brothers and a small house, our kitchen was a tight fit. But we all used to manage to fit around the Christmas table, you know, and my brothers, 2 or 3 of them had to emigrate as well over to England, so it was always a nice surprise when they'd arrive home for Christmas, maybe out of the blue, or even if it was planned. And just sitting around the table, just everybody messing, we'd be picking food off each other's plates or throwing peas at each other, and somebody would be giving out about the Brussels sprouts, and somebody else would be giving out about that the roasties weren't big enough, and you know, it was always a laugh and just like that family get together, yeah. So that's my wholesome memory.
When we were little, religiously every morning on Christmas morning, my dad would have us queued up from oldest to the youngest outside the living room door, and we couldn't get into the living room because he used to lock the door and take the handle off. So it was the whole like build up of watching him meticulously put the screws back in on the handle and then lock it, and he'd keep the light off and he'd like scooch in with the camcorder, and he'd be like, oh, he didn't come, and we'd be outside going, oh! You know, it's such a lovely thing. And then, you know, he'd open the door and we'd get to go in and see everything Santi left for us. And now, as a parent, I know how he felt, because whatever excitement we felt seeing what Santi was bringing, I get it now as a parent. And when I see like my kids' faces on Christmas morning, like, there's no way you can't believe in magic.
Well, the best one I have at the moment was from last year only, gone by, when Dara knew Santi was coming to the house. And he came Christmas morning, obviously, and he came down and he walked into the sitting room, and there he was, mouth open, eyes wide, as a child does. And that was one of my best moments when he seen all the toys. Before that, years since we had Anthony in our house for Christmas Day, like, you know.
I think probably a wholesome memory that maybe for both of us will be coming home at Christmas Eve.
From Monaghan's?
Yeah, see, it was from a pub.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, we left Monaghan's at the time. We went from work.
You went from work?
Yeah, and you met me. And we came home, we were on our way home, and it started to snow at the Carrick. We did Snow Angels.
Drunk.
And Shane Monaghan met us, and he said, I couldn't even relax in the pub thinking of his walking home, that you would never get home. Came
He
home.
wanted to give us a lift, we wouldn't take it.
No, we walked the whole way home.
That was the original Christmas Guinness ad, you and me.
Yeah.
Starts in our house years ago when we were young. It started off Christmas. My mother started preparing for Christmas. We went back to school in September. She would start gathering up all the fruit for the cakes and the puddings, and she'd be storing them until it was time to bake.
And the eggs.
She used to crock. She'd buy eggs when they were cheap, and we had a saucepan about that height, and she used to crock dozens and dozens of eggs. It was this stuff that to preserve them.
Yeah.
You could never fry those eggs, but you could bake with them and boil them. And then
Just the pudding.
just then getting ready then to the mixing of the pudding. And by God, she used to do it in the cloth. She boiled the pudding in the cloth that time. You don't see that now at all. And she'd be boiling it for hours and hours. And then when she take that pudding out, it would, at the handle, she put it on the handle of the brush, rest it on two chairs, and it would be hanging for another week or two, drying out.
What do you remember about Christmas? What sticks out in your head?
Sticks out in my head. Probably the most one that would stay with me was Oisín's first Christmas home.
Yeah.
Because we had a rotten year. He was 3 months in hospital. Then he was sick on and off every month and whatever. And just
It was a milestone.
yeah.
It was. And your first baby.
First baby. Yeah, and home and just that would have been for me. That would have been huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, Christmas is always a bit of a countdown
Right.
because I moved into Oliver Plunkett Road Christmas week. And I had my little baby boy, Patrick, in Hollis Street, had just got the house, and then I came from Hollis Street straight to Oliver Plunkett Road. There was no oil heating, someone lit a fire, we had nothing. There was no kitchen in the house, there was absolutely nothing. No phones, so I was there with the 3 kids on my own. The baby, Katie, was 2.5, Paula was 4.5, and my sister had done all the shopping. So we had all the food, all the Christmas food. I'm thinking happy days, new house, new baby. Went to cook something. Nobody had brought up the knives and forks and spoons. I couldn't slice a bit of bread. I couldn't ring anyone. I was starving. And I was stuck there in my own with the kids till 8:30 that night till my mother and father came up. And just, it's a nice memory, you know. We had nothing for that Christmas, but still it was a good Christmas.
And it
we
was
were
one you
happy
remember.
out, yeah.
Christmas was so wholesome in my house. My mum made Christmas. So from going out in the fields looking for holly from November time to baking treats, Christmas puddings and cakes. And she always made Christmas really special, even though back then, like everyone else, we had nothing. Christmas was so special. So Christmas was wholesome in our house growing up. It was lovely.
Well, obviously, like every Christmas morning was lovely when you got loads of toys and presents and.
Cost me a fortune, by the way.
Mum would always and Dad would drag us to the 12 o'clock mass on Christmas Day, and like I don't know, so you won't know this actually. You might. If I said Emmanuel to you, would you know what to sing?
Well, if we think of something else,
You know the song, Conor Finn.
Oh, Emmanuel, yeah.
So everyone, if you were to ask anyone in Kells that song, everyone knows it from that 12 o'clock mass. And then we'd all go up and sit in the altar and we'd show our toys, and it was great crack. Yeah.
We didn't have much. We would have got our outfits in Faulkner's across the road every year, but this makes me sound like I'm from the dark ages, but there used to be a market on Farron Street, and you could go up a few days before Christmas and buy your turkey. The turkeys were live. You'd have to pick the one you liked the look of. Was he fat? Had he a good wing on him? So my father bought the turkey, and we brought him home that morning, and then he had to kill him. He had to go and out in the yard, choke him.
Right.
And when it was killed, you had to hang him then on the door for a few hours. So it was hanging in the scullery. That night then, we're all around the fire, no central heating, stuck around the fire, watching the telly, and we thought we could hear a noise. And I was like, no, it's nothing. Mum's, what is it? What is it? And then we could listen, and the ad break came on, and all we could hear was he came back from the dead and was banging and thrashing around in the scullery door, and my mother would say, it's Lazarus, it's Lazarus. And when we were eating them on Christmas Day, she'd say, who wants the breast of Lazarus? Who wants the leg of Lazarus? Sure took the good out of eating the turkey.
Oh, that's
But they were
brilliant.
simple times.
Yeah.
Christmas then, for us, it was a magic time. We never had a lot. And we had the children, we were children for much longer. Nowadays, the children don't have much years as children, like they're grown up too fast. We can remember so many Christmases as children and Santa coming, and and we're looking forward to Santa coming.
But we were never let down. We were never disappointed at Christmas, even though what we'd get, they were very little. There was little dolls, maybe that size. I remember that.
Used to fit in a small matchbox.
Yeah, and
Be like
the
clothes.
legs and the arms moved, and she sat up all Christmas Eve, making clothes for those little dolls for us.
Yeah, she spent
We
her life.
and we'd always get copies and pencils at Christmas,
Always.
and we'd always get new clothes. I'm
It
talking about
may-
Undo.
You might have. I didn't remember getting new clothes.
We did.
I got new socks. I remember
Yeah.
we get new ankle socks.
Yeah.
It's a very special memory, and the memory is of Gay, my wife. She gave birth to our daughter Linda, and that was in 1988, on the 20th of December 1988, and we brought her home on Christmas Eve. So that was a very, 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 very special time in our house, and she was our firstborn. And she was born in the Coombe, and we came home, and we went to Navan. Gay wanted to stop in Navan to get a few things for herself, obviously after being in hospital and that. So, and everybody was admiring the baby and, Linda and all of that. And when we got home, we said, oh gosh, I better go up to town and get her some food. And of course, came up to get her the Aptamil, the milk, and we tried every shop in Kells, could not get the milk for Linda. And I says, right, I made a tip to Navan, and my sister Rosaline said, yeah, I'll go with you. Two of us did every shop in Navan, every supermarket, everywhere in Navan, same as Kent. No. Well, we said, right, you know what, we'll head to Trim. We'll definitely get something in Trim. Went to Trim, nothing in Trim, no Aptamil at all in Trim. Ended up coming back through Atboy, and we got it in one of the shops in Atboy, and I think I bought the last 2 boxes of the Aptamil milk.
Like I remember one Christmas I had to go into work Christmas morning, and I had a bit of a party the night before, and I parked my car in the shed, and there was 3 cars parked from the shed to the gate. So next thing was the boys next morning, Jimmy, time for work. Went out, 6 foot of snow on the ground. So that's all I said. Oh, so I thanked me. I rang Bernard Mooney. I Bernard to say, I had a party last night, and I said, I have the car in the shed and there's 3 cars parked in the car park. Say, I'm not going to get into work today. Well, says he, nobody is going to work today. He said, did you see the road? I didn't. I said, no. So I went out to watch the road then later on, and the whole crossroads at Lane was chock-a-block with nothing, all only snow. So I walked back up and sat down, and we went up to Monaghan's pub after and had a few drinks.
It was after snowing really heavily, and where I was living at the time, I was only about maybe 5 or 6 at the time, and there was a big huge field at the side beside the house, and we used to bring the manure bags up to the top of the field and slide down them, and somebody would be pulling with a rope and somebody else would be behind pushing, and one of my brothers was on the manure bag and another brother was pulling him and another brother was pushing. And they kind of got carried away, and he went flying down the hill, and there was a hole in the hedge at the end of the field, and he went through the hole in the hedge, out into the middle of the road, across the other side of the road.
I remember Sai getting the electric motorbike that was in Dom Ty's window for ages. Santi brought it for him, and it had to be charged for hours. And he got to go half an hour on it. So he left our house at the Cavan Road, got down to Kathleen and John Mulvaney's with it, and it stopped. That's all it went. Brought back, and sure, he was wailing because it wouldn't go. And Mommy said, oh Jesus, Mommy said, sure, here, I said, you mustn't be sitting on it. And she sat on it. broken. That's an awful thing to say about Mum. But it was hilarious.
Okay. This is about 2 chickens, 2 live chickens that she got one year. And we were very small. And when you walk out the back door in Windy City back then, there was a little shed. So the 2 chickens were hung in the shed. They weren't hung, they were just put into the shed. And the next morning, Uncle Tom was there. He was there to do the business of whatever had to be done, so that my mother could pluck them and get them ready. So she went out. Do you know whether you remember this one? She went out and she opened the shed door, and she was met with a hail of feathers and guts and heads. They killed one another, the 2 of them. They killed each other. There was nothing left of either one of them. Absolutely nothing.
But now it's a whole different scenario because you're out, you love to meet the boys and have a bit of crack and enjoy the Christmas then. You know, every one of them are all so nice. You know, that it's just grand to get out there and enjoy all that. Which I do.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh do. Yeah, but
Never take it so
you know that too.
Christmas means to me cozy and warmth and hot chocolate and movies and family and long walks, and yeah, Christmas is just special and warm and fab.
You pretend to be Santy, or Santy was there. And even...
They had big blow-up outfits and everything.
Yeah. Do you remember that's actually, yeah.
Half of Ellen Grove.
Where you were going over to Josie's, and then you went to Paddy and Mary's, and there's Santy, do you know the
big
blow-up
blow-up
one?
Santy.
Psh, 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 is all you can hear. You frighten Paddy more. All you have to give somebody is your time, and religiously, anyone who knows, anyone who's passed away, they always say, oh, you know, I wish I'd given them more time. And Christmas time, it's a time where everybody comes together and we hang out with each other and we spend time with each other. It's just like for creating really lovely memories and being together. And I think, like, I've obviously had grandparents who passed on, and the memories that stand out the most for me are Christmas time, because we actually spent it with them, and it was just a time where everybody was more relaxed and together, and it's just a time really for family, isn't it? So it means to me family and giving your time to somebody. I don't care about presents. Religiously, I said I don't want anything, because can't take them with you when you go, but memories, like, they stay forever, don't they?
Happy Christmas,
everybody.
and have a wonderful Christmas, and it's peaceful. Hopefully it's peaceful and happy for everybody.
The same here.
Merry Christmas.
Again. I wasn't ready. Go again.
How are you going?
1, 2. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
We sit together. Yeah, go on.
1, 2, 3.
Happy Christmas.
Yeah.
A happy Christmas.
A very, very happy Christmas.
And a prosperous
And
New
a
Year.
prosperous New Year. And don't leave the door open.
Conowitch? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Merry Christmas!
No, not Conowitch. Happy Christmas, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Happy Christmas, everybody.
Jingle my bells.
Excuse me for taking the 2 little sentences out of my own Christmas song, the Song for Christmas. May all the world listen to Jesus, to the message that he sends to you and to me, that we call our neighbours friends.
With joy